This week, Mariana Padilla from Hackerverse is with us to discuss fixing how cybersecurity products are bought and sold. Then we have a special news segment just to cover Microsoft's latest product announcements from their annual Ignite event. Finally, in the regular enterprise security news segment, BitSight, Sneak, and Silverfort announce acquisitions. Tanium announces an autonomous endpoint security offering. We find out how much a smartphone costs when it's manufactured in the US. CISA's leadership announces resignations. Ransomware is going after old versions of Excel and winning with it. Should vendors be doing more about alert fatigue? The latest cybersecurity reports, using AI to mess with scammers, all that and more in this episode of Enterprise Security Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
It's the show where we talk security vendors and aren't afraid to name names. It's Enterprise Security Weekly. BigID is the leading data security posture management, or DSPM, vendor, and they do DSPM differently. DSPM centers around risk management and how organizations need to assess, understand, identify, and remediate data security risks across their data. BigID seamlessly integrates with your existing tech stack and helps you uncover dark data, identify and reduce risk, take action through remediation, and scale your data security strategy. BigID is reshaping the future of data security, and CB Insights named BigID the leader in DSPM and the most disruptive cybersecurity software in the space. Visit securityweekly.com/BigID to learn more. Do your end users always, and I mean always, without exception, work on company-owned devices and IT-approved apps? I didn't think so. So my next question is, how do you keep your company's data safe when it's sitting on all those unmanaged apps and devices? 1Password has an answer to this question: Extended Access Management. 1Password Extended Access Management helps you secure every sign-in for every app on every device because it solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM can't touch. Check it out at securityweekly.com/1password. Welcome to Enterprise Security Weekly and happy National Gingerbread Cookie Day. This is episode 385, recorded on Thursday, November 21st, 2024. And I'm your host, Adrian Sanabria. And also with me is Mr. Ayman Elsawa. Sorry, I don't have the fancy hello for you set up. I wasn't sure if you're going to be able to make this segment or not. But how do you feel about gingerbread cookies?
I love them. I love them. Anything that goes with my coffee. So,
yeah, there you go. I have no problem with any kind of cookie, but I do have a problem with Christmas stuff invading November more and more. I think the spookiest thing about Halloween now is watching people set up for Christmas the week of Halloween, right? Like
so
it's
early.
just too much. By the time we get to Christmas, I am just so tired of everything Christmas related.
I can see that. But, back to the gingerbread cookie. The most important thing is, how do you eat the gingerbread cookie? You start with the head, the arms.
Head first.
Okay.
Head first. Yeah. Just quick and painless.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
It's inhumane, if that word can be used for gingerbread cookies. I think any other way. I think you have to go head first.
Okay. Hey. Yeah. It's all good.
All right. Today's topic is fixing how cybersecurity products are bought and sold. We are excited to have Mariana Padilla, CEO and co-founder of Hackerverse, with us today. Mariana was also the founder of Red Lab Marketing, and she is deeply committed to diversity and inclusion in cybersecurity and has been very involved in getting more women involved in the industry. Welcome, Mariana.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And I love that we started off this conversation with the mortal blow to the gingerbread man or lady. That's how we kicked this one off. This is going to be a great conversation.
It is. I hope I forgot to ask you beforehand how you say your name. I hope that's close enough.
No, all good. We're good.
My name is Sanabria, so I always try and make sure I can say other folks' names.
All good.
All right. So yeah, let's. This is a very exciting topic to me. Me and Paul Asadorian, before I ever did one of the Security Weekly podcasts, did a couple of talks on the difficulty of buying cybersecurity solutions and all the pitfalls and all the considerations and just all the things that you need to know before going into it, and kind of the ask on the vendor side, right? The things that vendors can do to make this easier. And a couple times over the last couple of weeks, I've been remarking about how in the developer industry, developer focused products seem to all tend to be freemium and try before you buy, and like that's just I guess you can't get anywhere in that market without that. And I kind of wish the rest of security was kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's a great point. It's interesting because we've been doing a lot of consumer research and conversations with folks. And I think that, I mean, that's kind of what my product does, is allowed for my company does, is allowed for, hands-on testing of products. But we got here because that's what vendors are asking for, right? They've told us repeatedly that the best way to really sell their products, they've discovered, is just to give people the ability to try it hands-on. Unfortunately, security is is an industry with very highly technical products that, it makes it more difficult to do that. But I think that's where the industry's headed. And I think, talking to consumers, CISOs, others, and doing research that I mentioned before, the number of times that I heard the term smoke and mirrors,
Mhm.
dozens of times. All I want to be able to
Fake
do.
it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I absolutely 100% agree with you on that.
I can relate to that from the industry analyst world. I was an industry analyst at 451 Research for a while, and one of my first questions to Wendy Nather before she hired me in there was, "How often do we get hands-on products?" And it was basically, well, almost never, because we can either cover a lot of the market, and to do that, we're doing a 1-hour briefing. Somebody's showing us a PowerPoint, like we never touched a product. We don't validate how much of that is true. We kind of have to trust the vendor. And inevitably, I would be at a conference talking up some vendor I'm really excited about, or some product I'm really excited about, and I would do it in front of somebody who had actually used it, and who would say, that product doesn't actually exist, or like it doesn't actually do all that. Like that's the intent, that's on the roadmap, but and it would be very disappointing. So, I tried to get into actually, first time I joined CRA, which is where I picked up running this podcast. I wanted to do cybersecurity product reviews. And I did do that for a while. And I found it to be almost impossible to do without a larger team. Like just talking, and I'm interested in your experience here, just getting the vendors to be comfortable with giving me access to their product to do an independent review, sometimes took months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting space to be in. I think I think we've are focused on the right section of the market. So our customers that we're working with are vendors Series A to D is like really our sweet spot.
Mhm.
So right, we use AI and automations to build these proof of concept environments. We speed up that process for them. There's a huge ROI for them, but then we host those proof of concepts on our platform for self-service evaluation. But I think there's been a sea change, or there's an undergoing a sea change as an industry in terms of like how products are sold. And, so one of my favorite books, Ross Halaliuk's, Cyber for Builders book, he has a whole chapter on why selling to CISOs is a dead model and why you shouldn't do that. And so I think these younger companies are entering the market, and they're discovering that the old way of doing things just absolutely is not going to work anymore. I mean, if you pop into LinkedIn any day of the week, you'll find 50 CISO complaints about the sales process and some way they were being sold and how it was sketchy and they didn't like it, and all of those different things. So I think we're finally at a place where younger companies who have really incredible technology are wanting a different way to showcase that, and they discovered, like I mentioned, that the best and only way to do that is to just right out of the gate showcase that it works, right? And going back to that smoke and mirrors comment that I made before, there have been so many buyers that have been burned in so many different transactions along the way, that, they're a lot more hesitant to make those purchases. And so if you can just show people how your products works and that it works, I think you're a step ahead of the game. So I think we're right time, right place. If we would have tried to launch this maybe 10 years ago, I would have, it would have been a different conversation. But I think, like I mentioned, there's huge impetus on both sides of the equation to really change the way that products are bought and sold.
Yeah, and to quote Ross from that book, the quality of what is bought and sold is not known. That's one of my favorite quotes out of that book. Sorry, Eamon, go ahead.
No. This is a quite a good topic. I mean, it's such a difficult. It's a pain point for CISOs. Pain point for, and then anyway, yeah. I there's so much to uncover here. Adrian, I'll let you go. I'll keep going, and I'll hop in a second.
Yeah, and Mariana, I think you would have done just as well 10 years ago. I think this has been something that it has been, we need disruption here. I think the vendors actually want it, but they're just kind of weird space they get in where I've worked for a lot of vendors, and I'm usually working for a founder. And oftentimes the founder is really nervous about competition, which I think is mostly unjustified. I think if they really want to get their hands on our product, they'll find a way to do that and look at it. To the point to where I'm often in like a product marketing position in a lot of these roles, or in a product position, and it's tough to even get permission to put screenshots on the website or something like that, to even put up a video of a demo of a product. And it's interesting. I've seen more of this happening on the analyst side of things too, like Risky Biz, the podcast, has a service where they will do a YouTube video where there's a screen share and they show off the product. And I've noticed Richard Stinnen has been doing that as well. So more and more, we're kind of seeing and a demo isn't quite the same as proving that it works. Like I've seen demos, run entirely from within product designer products, where it's
a Figma.
There's no actual Figma demos. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, this is and I imagine you're still having long conversations to get to that point to where they're going to be comfortable. So how does that work? If people want to try the product, if they want to check out the product, do they still have to talk to the vendor first, or do we just have to talk to you?
Yeah, no. So the way it works now is that vendors are inviting in their customers into the proof of concept. So these are folks who are already in their sales funnel. The self-service piece of things is launching in early 2025. Mm-hmm. There'll be a user verification process to make sure that threat actors, competitors are, not accessing these proof of concepts. It'll be tied to LinkedIn verification with some additional permissions access behind that. But really the goal is to be able to put buyers in the driver's seat and create a buyer-led sales motion in cybersecurity, which just has not existed. Maybe for a small, medium enterprise, which again is like, that product-led growth motion, but there just hasn't been anything like that for enterprise buyers. And so, we've been engaging in these conversations, and just like with a Fortune 50 CISO like 2 weeks ago, and she said specifically, this is exactly what my team needs. We're constantly undergoing like product evaluation. It just takes so much time, and it's just a slog. But to your point, in terms of like companies being reticent, we run into that occasionally. But like I mentioned, I think that some of these younger companies are realizing that in order to get ahead, they're going to have to adopt this new model, and they'll get further and further behind if they don't. There was one company we had an advocate within a company. It didn't end up working out because they were requiring NDAs just to see a demo, which I was just like, who in their right mind? Nope. No, that's an instant no from me.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
I know. It was like a losing model. I'm like, okay. I mean, there was some challenges, and he ended up leaving the company for some really valid reasons. I think that being a huge a huge piece of it. But some of the things we hear are like these smaller contracts take us just as long to close as these $1 million deals, and our sales engineering's time is eaten up by all these customer questions because there's just no way, there hasn't been a way to like automate the full process of that. So there's definitely some reticence in terms of some of the companies that we're talking to, but as I mentioned, I think there's a huge impetus for something like this, and our wait list of CISOs and buyers honestly is growing. When I tell people what we're doing, the people are very eager to jump in and get their hands dirty, and we're like what we're doing.
I bet. And that was kind of the premise of the product testing I was doing, is that after talking to enough people, I realized I don't need all the vendors to go along with it. Like even if like a Microsoft or a Palo Alto or a CrowdStrike doesn't want to do it, which we've seen in the past with product testing with I'm going to blank on the name right now, NSS Labs, for example. Got into some hot water because they included companies in tests after the companies tried to pull out. I think that's completely unnecessary to try and force a company down this route. I think you only need a few to prove that the method works, and then the conversation will be, everybody else is doing this. Why are you missing?
Why aren't you?
Why are you missing from the? Yeah, exactly.
Is it because your only customers are, referrals from your VC firm?
Yeah, partner companies within the VC portfolio. Yep, we've seen that.
We have seen that.
Eamon,
that's a big topic.
You got to have some questions here, Eamon. You're our CISO perspective here. Like what do you think about this? What are the natural questions that come to you?
Yeah, so much to unpack here. In fact, like I think about 10 years ago, what I would have loved to see, and I was asking anybody to create this, was like a Yelp for cybersecurity products. And the idea would have been the people that could review would be people that actually owned and used the products. And I'm like, someone create this.
Tried to do it.
What's that?
It was really hard. People didn't want to spend the time to write the Yelp reviews, basically.
Yeah.
Like they tried to give people Amazon gift cards to do it. And it ended up becoming like a social network, but it was tough to get people to spend the time.
Yeah, and so now what happens is you have underground Slack forums and different areas where CISOs do gather and collect, and they don't allow vendors in there, and they give that honest feedback. But then even that kind of got corrupted because, as you saw, we covered this a few episodes ago, where CISOs were kind of being paid to use their products. So that was interesting. So at the end of the day, and for me, I have SNTS. I have shiny new tool syndrome. So if there's a product out there that has a free tier, I'm going to try it out and test it out and like kick the tires. But a lot of times there's a big wall because, book a call or whatever it may be. And so getting access to the product and seeing if it actually works. And we all know it's well known that there's a lot of snake oil out there in the cybersecurity world, right? So when someone comes, I have new Fandango solution, I'm like, sure, okay, and the single pane of glass and all that. So I'm glad that this is being tackled and it's being approached. Not even to mention the fatigue that CISOs get from like random calendar invites that get on their email, on their calendars and all that kind of stuff. So I'll pause here. Yeah, it's just
Yeah. So my favorite, this is one way we're kind of seeing the outcomes of that. I'm sure Ira Weiss, who is very prevalent in the space, but his talk that he's given to the Cybersecurity Marketing Society in December is "Don't effing talk to me." Literally, that's the name of his talk. The CISO perspective.
Love it.
So there you go. There you go. Yeah. But I mean, the whole reason this started is because my co-founder, Craig Elrod, has spent 30 years in sales engineering and technical marketing. And he was working for Armor at the time, building out these demo environments, sandbox testing of tools. And he put several of them in there. And so big names missed some basic vulnerabilities. And so it was just like that. there's got to be a way to make sure to battle test these products and ensure that they actually work. And that it needs to be a way for consumers to easily do that, right? And so one of the things I like to say is that I think, the security industry, we've, in a lot of ways, I think we've lost our way, which is very sad, because at the end of the day, it's not about ARR, it's not about revenue, it's about peace of mind. That's what we're selling. That's what we're providing, right? And so if we keep that at the forefront, it will help us achieve our goals and make sure that we're steering on course and only selling tools that work and not pushing things out into the marketplace that are like half baked and all of that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of it goes back to the way we're funding companies and keeping that North Star in our mind as we proceed. And so that's like core to everything that we do.
And not only that, but like after you sell say the product works great, but like how is their customer support, right? How's their customer service? How's the attention that they give post sale? Like where is there a place where we could talk about that and what was your experience, except stuff like that. I think that's important too.
Yeah, yeah. And to add to that, Mariana, like where you pick up is where I left off when I was doing those product reviews. Like mine was very focused on what's it like to implement this product, to get it up and running, to get it to a point where it's producing value, which if we're going to talk about it producing value, we have to define what value means for this product. And then I would try and estimate the amount of labor it would take both to get it up and running and to keep it there. The overhead. Yeah, every product comes with overhead to maintain it, and some more than others. But yeah, then obviously after people read that, like mine was more intended for them to narrow down what products they were going to do a POC of. Because a lot of the time, like just reading the marketing on a website, you think this is a product in category A, and it's actually a product in category F. Like,
Right.
just because of the marketing folks aren't quite on the same page with the engineering folks.
And
like
don't forget,
FireEye
they're
is the
all
classic.
AI companies too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure to SEO the heck out of the website, which makes it
Right.
much less useful for a buyer.
Right.
Yeah. And FireEye is kind of the classic example here, where we saw a huge amount of churn, a huge amount of FireEye customers switching once their initial 2-year contract was up, because they realized they would have never bought this product in the first place if they understood how it worked and where they would have to place it in the environment for it to do what it did. It wasn't that the product also didn't work great, so that didn't help. But also there was just a fundamental misunderstanding of what the product did. That led to poor architectures, poor deployment.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's a statistic that I find to be pretty shocking. And we're putting this in our pitch, so this is like cogent. It's on the top of my brain. Okay. But according to ReliaQuest, now I sound like ChatGPT, 70% of enterprise cybersecurity tooling is underutilized. So if we're talking about the global cybersecurity market of like $220+ billion, and some of that's services, but if you take 70% of that, that's $170 million or something that's totally underutilized. Yeah. So we call that the dreaded closet. It goes in the closet. We spent $500K on it, and then our internal champion left, and now we can't do anything with it. Yep. So it's in the closet.
That totally sounds right to me. I remember when I was at 451, Javad Malik did a shelfware report, and I helped him with it. And it was very interesting because we surveyed both sides. And he wrote a survey for the buyers and for the sellers. And, one of those questions is, why do products end up as shelfware? And it was so funny to see like the finger pointing in both directions, and the clearly a lack of communication at many different levels.
100%. Yeah. But I mean, I think if you're a buyer, it's a missed opportunity to, like what we were just talking about, to not include a focus on like customer success after the fact. What that to me is like such a missed opportunity. Like churn can kill your company. I mean, we're getting deep into the business weeds here, but like for anyone listening who's starting a startup, make sure you're planning that in advance. Like, how are you going to take care of these customers after the fact and not just pass them off to some service provider to take care of it? Like, there's going to be times that they actually need to access you. So how are you going to do that beyond maybe a Slack channel that's monitored for like 2 hours a day or something?
I know. I think it would be really cool if your product can also provide training, which I'm sure it's going to do, training for the sales folks, right? Because there's a lot of sales folks that come in and it's like, hey, by the way, these CISOs, they're like special snowflakes. Here's how you approach CISOs, or here's how you approach, these teams. And guess by the way, the decision maker is actually the architect on the team or the engineer. Get them, convince them, and then the CISO will follow, or whatever it may be. But some sort of education for sales folks and product folks when they come in, because sometimes they have no idea like how a CISO thinks, or how, what their priorities, what's going on in their world. So
yeah, no, I think that's great.
There's communication issues there also. Like I've seen many cases where you talk to the CISO and their opinion of how things are going with a product are completely at odds with the people who are actually hands-on with the product. Like they'll say nothing but positive things, right? And then you talk to the people actually using it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's functionally broken. Like we can't get any value out of this thing."
everything's fine, and then you just have like a dumpster thing going on in the back.
I'm just singing the Lego song in my head. Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
So Mariana, I see an opportunity here, even after the post-purchase, like talking about customer success. Well, and Eamon was kind of talking about it too, having some place for the community to kind of share notes on things. Where I actually built a service. I built a consulting company, and one of our services, and we sold it as a monthly subscription, where a certain amount of hours, whatever tier you purchased at, we would just come in and look at your security products, make sure you're getting value out of them, make sure that they're configured correctly. Like in one case, I remember a company had a DAST scanner, and they were scanning 14 of their websites with this scanner. And 13 of the 14 websites had somehow been misspelled. The M on .com was missing from 13 of the 14 websites. But because one of them was spelled correctly, they got results and didn't question those results. So I don't know how long it had been misconfigured like this, but they hadn't realized that they were missing so much feedback from their vulnerability scanner, from their web app scanner. But 100% of the time, we found products misconfigured or misused in general. We found IDSs plugged into the wrong span ports that weren't seeing all the traffic. You name it. I think there's a huge opportunity here to continue to provide support, for the community to provide each other support here, and say, hey, here's a weird caveat of this product, or if you configure it like this, it works a lot better.
Yep. No, and that's exactly the vision. Actually, our Discord community actually existed before the company did. So my co-founder, again, been in the space a long time, very plugged into the ethical hacker DEF CON community. So that actually existed for a long time. And so our vision for that is to have it embedded in the website for all those, customer engagements. Hey, vendor, blah, 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 come on and have a Q&A open session from this time to this time. Like, you provide customer support, all those kinds of things, ongoing, open conversations about these products. Maybe some of those underground Slack communities, maybe people will start migrating over to the Hackerverse platform where they can actually test out the products. So lots of cool things in the works, and I completely agree.
So before we wrap up here, Mariana, and this all sounds amazing. I'm very excited about this. I want you to tell us about World Hacker Games, and then where to find all this, how folks listening can get involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll start with the website, hackerverse.ai, and find us on LinkedIn. My personal LinkedIn handle is linkedin.com/here to shake shit up. That's me. Easy to find me on LinkedIn. And that's what we're doing. But World Hacker Games, yeah. So it goes along with the POC. So we build an infrastructure that's kind of it goes along with both. It's custom capture the flag arena. We put vendor products in there. We throw some, malware at it. We actually have malware developers, and we see how it performs in real time. Our tagline for that is the MMA ring for cybersecurity products. We're interesting inflection point where some of these vendors are raising their hand and saying, put us in the ring against our competitors and see who has the fastest time to detect. So we're entering an entirely new universe, folks, in terms of vendor accountability, which is great. But yeah, you can find out more about that on our website, and our next one will probably be in January, post holidays. We actually have an AI company that we're working with. We'll be doing some prompt injection, really fun stuff. Very
cool. Mariana, thank you so much for joining us on Enterprise Security Weekly today. It was a fun conversation. This is very, very close to my heart, and I wish you all the success in this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to cover the latest news coming out of Microsoft's Ignite conference.